Well, look, I just wanted to start with a really big welcome to everyone here this afternoon. Community has always been the heartbeat of ABIC. We all know that. And as we come together for our annual members meeting this year, we really do so while standing in solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters who've lost members of their community this week, including leaders, friends, and children. And really having this understanding and tight-knit community ourselves in the aesthetic and beauty industry, where our hearts are just shattered. We condemn, of course, all the hatred and violence and loss of innocent life. It's just so unfathomable. And at ABIC, we remain deeply committed to understanding empathy, unity in everything that we do always. And I think we can all sort of feel that when any community is targeted, it affects us all. We are all colleagues, friends, and supporters of one another. And I think we really feel that in our industry. So I just wanted to really thank you for being here today, for the strength that you bring our community. And this evening, we'll reflect on the year through the ABIC lens. Lots of significant achievements to celebrate, while acknowledging the important work, of course, that's still ahead of us. I would sincerely like to thank our council members. Some of us are here this evening with us because our council members volunteer their time endlessly and generously. Their names are displayed on the screen here today across countless meetings, committees, and planning sessions, and everything in between as well. We all support one another and we're each other's cheerleaders as well. But each one of these people that you can see on your screen now brings so much experience, perspective, and calm leadership to our table. And it really is a pleasure to work alongside all of these great names in our industry. But to our staff, Danielle Cavella and Steph Miller, thank you. As chair, I get to see the incredible hard work that happens behind the scenes. And I can say without hesitation, I think you probably know as well, but I get to see it probably a little bit more so, that these two work absolutely tirelessly and always place our members at the centre of everything that they do without hesitation. I'd also like to take this opportunity tonight, and I'm sure we have some in the room or some that will be watching on recordings, to formally acknowledge our foundation members. They support ABIC with an annual contribution of nothing less than $10,000 per year. This is significant. And also our supplier members who contribute $5,000 a year. Yes, standing ovation, Maria, certainly. I can say without hesitation that these businesses are leaders in their respective fields, and their commitment plays a critical role in making ABIC possible. So quite simply, I guess in plain terms, we couldn't operate without our foundation and supplier members. Membership fees only go so far alone, and the contribution that our foundation members and supplier members makes allows us to continue to deliver the meaningful advocacy, education, and leadership that we are able to provide for our industry. And to all of you joining us this evening, what an incredibly busy time of year. Thank you. Your engagement and energy are what continually drives us. We talk regularly about the inspiration and the ideas that we get from you, and we're nothing without you. You're our voices. We're your voices as well, to relay that. In safeguarding our industry and developing our industry for the future, we thank you. And I'll now hand over to Stephanie Miller, who will take us through the details that helped us to shape 2025. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Reka. That was such a beautiful introduction and so eloquently put, of course. I'd like to thank everyone, echo the sentiments of how we're all feeling this week in light of everything that's happened in Sydney, and our hearts do go out to everyone as well. We'd love to, this meeting I'd like to do just a tad bit differently. Usually I speak through the whole thing, which is fabulous if you like listening to my voice, but I also love taking questions, and so at the end of a few sections I will ask if there are any questions relevant to what I've just spoken about. If you could raise your hand, and I might take one or two questions as well, because I know that there's some complex issues that we're going to be talking about, namely the new regulation when it comes to TGA and so forth that you might have some questions about as well. So let's start off with the membership overview. Let's see how we're going. So it's kind of like not this month, but I would say the end of the year, we celebrate 4 years since the launch of ABIC. So it's been it feels like a long time, but actually in 4 years is quite a short time for any organization, let alone a peak body that encompasses all of beauty, dermal and medical aesthetics. It's a short time, but we've accomplished so much. We have, in this short amount of time, become the largest voice or the largest combined voice for our industry with government. And we did slog for the first 2 to 3 years with reaching out to government and making them understand that we are here and that we're there to represent. What's happened in the last 12 months, in particular, 12 to 18 months, is ABIC has been inundated daily with government bodies reaching out for us to participate in their roundtable discussions, in their consultations. They reach out and ask us for advice about our industry, data, and to participate in not only state by state legislative reviews or even just discussions, but on a national federal level as well. So we are getting calls from APRA, emails from TGA, from federal government, and national bodies like the ACCC. And we're doing a lot of work with them from A to Z, from business review to legislation and education. And that's because we have 26,000 community members in our realm. So if you add up all of our subscribers to our newsletters, to our closed Facebook groups, to all the people that are watching and receiving our message, there's about 26 to 30,000 of them. And they make up clinic, salon, spas. We just welcome Endota Spa as the first franchise as well to join the mix, and they are all going to be Safe Skin certified clinics as well. So we've started bringing on the bigger franchises as well as professional members, which we've got 300 paying professional, 358 members who actually subscribe to receive our services, not just in our member community. And we also have 283 clinic HR memberships. So we provide HR assistance and IR, dispute resolution, anything that a clinic, salon, or spa needs to be able to run, even from the time of inception, from the time that they're starting to the time that they're wanting to expand. If they've got any staffing issues or if they've got any contractual issues, anything like that, our HR team and our facilitator, Danielle, and myself look after that community as well. So we've also got clinic management memberships, and they don't need our HR services, but they need our resources, and they're managers of clinics as well. We have 59 of them. That category is relatively new and growing. We're also growing our student membership. So we've got 221 student memberships as well. They range from TAFEs to independent schools such as Kelly's, to Kelly McDermody, who's here on the meeting as well, and AACDS, who is here as well. So we've got some great educational partners, and Ellie Lucas as well. I'm not sure if anyone's here from Ellie Lucas, but thank you so much for partnering with us. We are planning this year to do some more student outreach and support. So if anybody out there is wanting to do some work with students and you're a clinic, salon, or spa, please do reach out as well. We are growing those membership numbers. So in terms of partners, our partners, the way we identify a partner is that they are a supplier to the industry. So a supplier is, a distributor or a skincare brand or some device companies as well. And we have foundation supplier and education members combined. We have 37 of those as well supporting. And we really, really thank you so much for the support that you give the industry, because your membership subsidises a lot of the HR, IR, and all of the work we do behind the scenes as well. So as we said, we are an umbrella association. Remember that lots of people are still confused to this day. We do look after beauty, dermal, and medical aesthetic. And why we do that is because when we go to government, our industry is looked at as one big industry under the cosmetic and beauty umbrella. So when they look at our industry, they do look at the various occupations and sectors, but more so they look at how many businesses, how much revenue does it bring, how many voters, how many people are receiving beauty and cosmetic services. And of course, we all work in symbiosis. So these days you'll walk into a clinic, you'll find a doctor, a nurse, a beauty therapist or a dermal therapist, all working in symbiosis. So a lot of these regulations that pertain to one pertain to all in most cases as well. So it's very important that our advocacy spans the entire gamut of what we do as well. So one of the important things that we did this year was the State of the Industry survey. And we did this because our industry is lacking a lot of data. We just had a meeting with a potential foundation member that's going to sign up today, and they asked me the same question that everybody asked me, what is the data from our industry? And the reason that we don't have the correct data in our industry is because foundationally we weren't set up to capture this. And I'll talk a little bit more about the ABS and ANSCO and give an update with regards to the occupation codes. But fundamentally, we were all under the umbrella of beauty and hair. So there was no distinction between what beauty, cosmetic, and hair services businesses were. And we're working very hard and tirelessly with the ABS, not just in the review process, but after the review process, which was the ANSCO, now OSCO review. We are doing a lot of work to clarify, classify, but also outline scope of practice for every single sector. And why that's important is because there is confusion between what one profession or one occupation does as opposed to another. So there is not clarity as to what a beauty therapist can do and what a dermal therapist can do, for example. So what we did is we started the State of the Industry survey, and we're running this until mid next year to gather as much information from the industry as possible, but not just data. We want to find out the sentiments of the industry. We want to see whether or not you are happy and comfortable and optimistic, or what your worries and challenges are as well. So you can get involved in this survey. We'll send through the link as well. If you haven't completed it, please do so. But basically, we're going to have a look and analyze a little bit of the findings, so preliminary findings that we have seen. So we've had so far 217 business owners, also operators, fill out the survey, and 113 employees or contractors fill out the survey. And these are a summary of findings so far. We expect that they will evolve over time, but essentially, I do believe that we're getting a very good snapshot here. So employer findings, we're seeing that there are a lot of sole traders. So the most amount of people that have filled in the survey have been sole traders. There are very recent business owners. So I've seen the highest categories 3 to 5 years, and the second highest, well, actually, the second highest category is 3 to 5 years, and the highest category is over 12 years, believe it or not. So we have businesses that have been in the industry for over 12 years, really still holding strong. And I do believe that's because of their, not just their longevity and their long standing, but their procedures and protocols seem to be of quite high standards. The ones that I think there were about 40 or 50 that responded were very well established clinics. So Primary sectors were all beauty services. We saw so many dermal therapy. I think dermal therapy was the highest, followed by beauty and then medical aesthetics, although medical aesthetics was creeping up, to the level of beauty, in terms of respondents. A lot of them were spread in the three states. So we had New South Wales, obviously, the highest, Victoria and Queensland, then followed by South Australia and WA. And then we did find quite a few, which was quite surprising, regional clinics responding to the survey. So they're really wanting to get involved. There's opportunities in regional areas. They're wanting training. They're expanding their businesses, and they're feeling like they're a little bit disconnected. So these are, I believe, what we should start looking at as well, in the next couple of years, to make sure that they're serviced adequately as well. There's a huge, strong feeling that regulation is increased regulation, even though we have all suffered from, and some of us complained about the extra regulation. Every single survey that we have run has shown that increased regulation is the thing at the forefront of everyone's mind. They are particularly concerned about non-qualified people in the industry, so that sentiment hasn't gone away. If anything, I feel that over the past 4 years, that sentiment has actually grown stronger, especially within the dermal and medical aesthetic sectors. There was a strong call for regulation in those two areas as well. A lot of respondents saying that our industry is suffering from trust issues, and professionalism issues, a lot stemming from online, your TikToks, your Instagrams, and so forth. So there was quite a hesitation when it came to advertising and marketing, and also quite a hesitation about what people can and can't say in that area, especially when communicating about their treatments, the more advanced treatments, I would say. So the respondents valued the advocacy that we were doing for the industry, and they noted, a lot of them were ABIC members and some of them weren't, that they really wanted more community building and industry connections. So even though we've seen a rise in in-person training and in-person events, we're finding that across the board, everybody wants more of this. So we are discussing, probably either later on next year or the beginning of 2027, putting together our ABIC conference as well, to get all of our ABIC members together, and having that connection, but also, that guidance and information. So some more findings: staff shortages. This has been a common theme, and it still hasn't allayed. It hasn't gotten any better. Recruitment difficulties are at the top of the challenge list, I would say. People are finding it really hard to find qualified staff, even though we're seeing so many graduates come into the industry. They're still struggling to find adequate staff, or they're saying that the standards that are coming out of schools, not necessarily as a fault of the teaching, but as a fault of the training package, not being fit for purpose and not being fit for the industry. And obviously we're going to hopefully be doing something about that next year as we open up education reform with SACSA as well. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Financial pressures keep rising. So we're seeing quite a few businesses struggling and some closures, but likewise, we're seeing some really strong growth as well. So there's a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like those that have adapted and grown, and to suit the industry, possibly niched, are doing better and are coping, and those who have stayed with the old formulas are feeling the pressure at the moment as well. And they tend to, one of the questions showed, or one of the comments showed, that people are holding on to staff because of fear that they won't be able to replace them, but they're holding on to perhaps staff that aren't at the level that they want them to be, or aren't performing. So that's putting financial pressures on the businesses as well. There's a huge amount of competition in our industry, a lot of it from unqualified sources. So we are on a mission to make sure that the qualified sources, qualified people are supported in our industry as well, because with the lack of regulation at the moment, that's going to be changing very soon. We have seen a lot of entrants into the industry that has put pressure on clinics that are running at a high level and are all qualified and so forth. So we're looking at that. We hear you, and we're negotiating between remaining competitive, but also understanding and hearing the needs of qualified professionals as well. Also, a call for licensing. There's a lot of people that have put in, hey, can we see if we can get some licensing? So, recognized clinics that have licenses to perform particular treatments. That has come up more than once in the review questions as well. Education always remains strong. People want more and more education. I feel like the industry is evolving so quickly, and education is at the forefront of how to stay ahead of the curve. So these business owners are wanting more and more of that education and are willing to contribute financially to be able to participate in these. So there's a strong opportunity for, if you're in the education space. Clinic owners have indicated that they would pay for their staff and they would pay for themselves to attend these training opportunities as well. Online came up more than once, that they would love to get some online, but also in-person support as well. So, and lastly, certification. We did ask the question about safe skin certification. Do you view it as important to gain credibility? And we had some incredible responses. People are really interested in the certification. It's a relatively new thing in our industry, so we're wanting to be able to promote it and educate about it. So if you haven't yet looked into the Safe Skin Certification Program, please do so. It is a way of elevating the clinics, salons and spas and making sure that they are operating at the highest standards, and also they stand out in a crowd. So that's it for the employers. The employees were a little bit different. So majority of them still from Victoria, New South Wales, WA. A lot of respondents actually had more than 12 years experience in the industry. So I think that is not because there's more of those people, but I think the ones that have been in the industry for a little bit longer tend to take our industry maybe a little bit more seriously, want to participate and have really filled in that survey in numbers. And so we're seeing record numbers of dermal therapists and dermal clinicians actually completing the survey. They were the highest profession to complete the survey, followed by beauty therapists, and then the medical aesthetic arena, cosmetic nurses was third, but quite close to beauty therapists. So we're seeing quite a bit of collaborative participation, which is great. So we're just seeing a diverse qualifications from diplomas to degrees and so forth. Employees tend to be extremely optimistic. So whereas the employers were a little bit more daunted by all the changes, the employees seem to be really excited and optimistic about the future, which is fantastic. They do note financial pressures as well, but one of the things that stood out was workplace culture. Workplace culture seems to be a reoccurring theme, whereby that's where most of the unhappiness lay with the employees. So they would tend to stay longer, obviously, in workplaces that they're happier in, but a lot of them said that they weren't happy with their workplace culture and they would love a little bit more interaction, collaboration, and unity within their particular businesses. Some of them noting that career progression was higher than as a need than wages. So if you're out there and you own businesses, education and career progression seems to be the thing that's stimulating our employees. They're finding that they're a little bit stagnant, and not necessarily do they need a pay rise. They actually are wanting a little bit more recognition, and they're wanting to progress and learn. So that's really interesting. All of them wanted recognition, increased regulation, and they're frustrated with inconsistency from state to state. So it was incredible to see that employees were actually really, really involved with regards to lifting their standards. There was a strong demand for professionalism, recognition, and also they were very interested in the Safe Skin certification program. A lot of them saying that they would love that sense of pride to be Safe Skin certified, or to work for a Safe Skin certified clinic, salon, or spa. And I think that the clinic owners that have gone through the program would attest to the fact that employees do have a sense of pride when you either, win an award or get some kind of recognition. They want to know that they're working for, the best of the best. So in terms of the state of the industry at the moment, where we have obviously spoken to thousands of businesses, employees, and so forth over the year, and the 5 themes that have come up as the highest that we need to be working on, what you want us to work on, is consistent national regulation. That is by far number 1 that has come back as feedback. And they are frustrated with the fragmented state rules. I have to tell you though, in what we have found when working with government is that we can't get around really the issue of state-based regulation. We've tried, but every state has its own way of operating, and where everybody's calling and asking, why haven't you been able to pull off national regulation? It's because it's not as simple as saying, yeah, we want this on a national scale. Every single state sort of dictates what they do. National bodies are bodies like, obviously Parliament and Senate, they can pass laws, and they do. But for example, if something's going to be rolled out nationally, it will be through guidelines like APRA or guidelines like TGA. But when we're talking about actual legislation, they are state by state. Now, what we're trying to do is trying to get cohesion between states. So we've noticed that when we have gone into feedback sessions or roundtables, that all of the state legislators are there, which means they all want to get on the same page. Or they have, a desire to. But from the desire to the fact is there's a long way between, and there's sometimes years and years of work that goes into that. So we hear your frustration, we see it. This type of work is not overnight. It is not a 1 to 3 year thing. Sometimes it can be a situation where it goes over, a decade, where you're trying to get this elevation. Although I have to say we have had so many wins this year, which I'll go through a little bit later on as well. Second thing is workforce shortages, staffing challenge. That is, everybody's resonating with that. And difficulty recruiting, skills gaps. When you're hiring staff, the staff are finding there's limited career pathways as well, so they're not staying with their employers because they want to progress in their career after a few years. So we're finding a lot of the workforce leaving for career progression. Financial pressure, that's number 3. We talked about that a little bit before with the findings from the survey. And then in the thing that keeps coming up as a theme, it's at number 4, is insufficient industry standards and professional recognition. Everybody wants that professional recognition. They feel like the not that the standards have slipped in Australia, but we're behind some of the other countries with regards to recognizing our professionalism and our standards. So we're doing some work when it comes to that, with Safe Skin certification and with other means, but that tends to be still really, really at the forefront of people's mind. And stronger industry support. They just want education, advocacy, and practical training. Our industry just loves practical, hands-on, face-to-face kind of training. So I think those were the major findings from the year as well. So let's jump to education reform. So we have talked about this. Everybody knows that we are a partner with SACSA. So SACSA is Skills and Creative Australia. I'm not going to go into all the details about SACSA now because we've done it many times. We've gone through, we've got it on our website, and there's so much information about SACSA. But basically, they're the government-funded arm of education reform or review in Australia. They are national. Right now, they were working on the hair and barbering, and they have reviewing their packages. They have been doing preliminary work in our industry, finding out about workforce planning, workforce needs, finding out whether or not our qualifications are fit for purpose. And that investigative work has been happening over the last couple of years. Cut to end of this year when they have put in a submission to government for education reform starting next year. If this happens, what will happen is if the government say yes, they will take all of our feedback, which has come through our education committee, our regulation committee, all of the events we've held with SACSA, all of the meetings that we've attended through the SWAG, which myself and Helen Golisano are a part of, who are, Helen Golisano is a council member of ours. All of the feedback that we've given through our education and foundation members and our members, they're taking all of that into account and submitting what they believe is a case for change for our industry to review the qualifications. Now, if this happens, this is monumental. We don't know if it's going to be opened up next year, but we're hoping that, in January, February, we get the news that we have been funded. So when we get the news that we are funded, they open up and they start looking at the inside of the qualifications. At this point, we will be setting up with SACSA technical committees. So there's an opportunity for you watching to actually participate in the technical committees. Now, the technical committees are very important because they're the ones that review the details of each qualification. And what ABIC has realised by listening to industry is that our qualifications really aren't fit for purpose. They need to kind of be scratched and we need to start again because they don't sync up. There are no pathways and there's duplication in many of the either certificates or diplomas and even degrees. So what we're wanting is a seamless pathway where you can start at beauty services and then take on extra units and extra learnings to then upgrade to a diploma or go in a particular direction or a particular niche with a diploma, or then take that diploma and then use those skills and learnings that you've got credits for to study, further study, dermal or even cosmetic nursing. So this is an opportunity to get involved at the ground level. And it is so important that you do, because I have had feedback with regards to the hair package that at the moment, the hair industry is not that happy with the changes that are being proposed and made. And why is that? I believe that it's involvement. I believe that the more voices you get, the more voices that you can participate, the more that they see, the government sees, and SACSA sees, oh, this is a theme that I've heard from ABIC, that I've heard from industry, that I've heard from education providers, that I've heard from all different suppliers and foundation members. They will then take those things into account. And if you don't have your voice, what happens is they're going to review education and then it's going to stay that way for a long time afterwards. So the only way to ensure that we get this right is if everybody that has a stake participates in that, whether that's responding to surveys that are getting put out, being part of technical committees, jumping on our regulation and education committees, or writing to them yourself, or writing to us. As much as feedback as we can get will actually steer the ship in the right way. If we don't get the things we want, it means our voices have not been loud enough, and it's not just ABIC's voice, it's industry voice that they're looking for. So fingers crossed this will happen next year. We've done a lot of work with SAPSA, and they have been so wonderful in educating and attending all of our committees as well. So I want to thank them for all the work that they're doing as well. This is so far what the workforce findings are as well. I just wanted to let you know that there is lots of gaps, skills gaps that they have found. They have found that the training products aren't at the moment fit for purpose. They have found that the packages, some of them don't relate to each other very well. There are missing elements that are actually happening in the industry that aren't taught at the moment. And there are a lot of double ups as well. So you can have that voice. What we've done, a lot of you know that we have two committees. So we've got a regulation committee and an education committee. Next year in 2026, we're combining those because we're finding that there's so much crossover between the two. We're at a point right now where we need to combine them so we're not repeating ourselves, but also so that education and regulation can work hand in hand in 2026 and beyond as well. So if you're part of the regulation committee or the education committee, you're going to be getting an email saying that they have been retired, the two have been retired, and that the one is replacing them. So now you've got a chance to apply to the new combined committee. And if you have not been part of the regulation or education committee, I suggest you look into it and join up and sign up. It's only 4 meetings a year, potentially 6 meetings, but they're shorter than they were before. They were 2 hours. We're going to make them an hour to an hour and a half. And feedback and participation is really necessary. But if you do come, and join, please know that your attendance is compulsory. We did have remote viewing of recordings last year, but we're not going to be doing that this year. We need everybody to show up on the day as well. So if you're interested, please do apply, send us an email, or get in touch. The other committee that we are launching next year, I wanted to launch it this year, but there was just so many things going on, is the ABIC Menopause Aesthetics Committee. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, this is new or this is different. Actually, we're finding that menopause is the thing on everybody's lips at the moment. They're all talking about it. And so what we're doing is we're looking at in our industry, most of the females that we're treating are either perimenopausal, going into perimenopause, or menopausal. And we're finding that people in the industry are using the word menopause or menopause aesthetics to bring in clients. And we understand that is the demographic that's, wanted and needed. But there's a huge rapid growth in services when it comes to menopause, especially because of the new understandings that we've had with regards to HRT and the benefits of it as well. Basically, what we want to do, I'm just going to go back. We want to raise standards. We want to redefine what care is for this age group as well. And we want to protect the clients that are, receiving all of these marketing messages from industry that target menopausal women, and they might be vulnerable. They might be people who don't know much about what's happening to them. And the marketing of that is of concern. So we're seeing that misleading claims are starting to emerge in the industry with regards to menopause aesthetics targeted to menopausal women. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that all the communication that we have with our industry and with clients is professional, it is ethical, and that it doesn't attract unwanted regulatory scrutiny. Because when we kind of go off on a tangent, we and kind of go extra with our advertising, that's when the media takes hold, and that's when regulatory bodies come down and start saying, okay, you can't say this word, you can't be treating this, it is a medical condition and we want to leave it alone completely. So being proactive in setting our own standards is, I believe, the way to navigate this. And that means setting benchmarks for how we talk about menopause and menopause aesthetics, setting benchmarks for protecting women from misinformation. And really, the way we do that is we're going to create national benchmarks. We're going to talk about, the scope of practice, codes of conduct, how do we conduct ourselves? How do we market and communicate with our industry as well? And how do we collaborate with qualified menopause experts? And how do we provide education and awareness? So there's a lot to do on this committee. We are looking for doctors, we're looking for cosmetic doctors, GPs, medical professionals, but we are also looking for cosmetic nurses, dermal therapists, advanced beauty therapists, all that have an interest in or a knowledge of this particular area as well. And we are looking for clinic owners, advocates, anybody that has an interest that wants to get involved and make these standards, nationwide, should apply. So we go to actually show you this. Just bear with me. I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to share a couple of things with the group. So Menopause Aesthetics Committee, you can actually apply here. I'm not sure if you can see. Can you see the website? And if you scroll down, the applications are here. And then you just fill in some questions, and that's the same with the regulation committee as well. And there's another committee that is kicking goals, and I want to show you that as well. That's our electrology division. I actually want to thank Karen Mearing de Gonzalez for all the work that she's done in putting together our electrology division and our electrology committee. It's an exciting and extremely new thing in Australia, because we've never had anything like this when it comes to electrology. Electrology is something that's absolutely booming. We can't get enough, honestly, electrologists. The waiting lists are so long, and we don't have advanced training available in Australia. So what Karen did was she suggested either putting together an association or a division under ABIC so that we can support this emerging and really growing committee. And she's not only put together the division, but she has created a symposium, which is happening on the 11th and 12th of January. And it is, congratulations, Karen, sold out as of this week or last week. It is going to be the biggest, the first, and we're actually, Karen's having a keynote speaker called Joanne Ganella, who is the foremost expert in the world on electrology. She's from the US, and she's actually flying down. I don't know how you did this, Karen, free of charge for 2 days, speaking to us about, advanced education. So please, if you're interested in electrology, either the symposium sold out now, but do look at this committee, because we are going to be advancing electrology over the next couple of years. We do need committed members into our committee, but we do need members who are actually electrologists as well. So I'm not sure if we're going to have a lot of that training that we're doing in the symposium available afterwards. But we're hoping to have some of that available afterwards, some of the learnings for the industry as well. And we are raising standards and putting together a best practice code of conduct with the committee. So they've done a lot of work in putting that together as well, and that's on our website if you want to check that out as well. But congratulations to that team. That's a testament to all of your hard work and dedication.
Steph, can I just also add, we've got Noreen
Yes.
on this call as well, and Noreen actually does a lot of speaking overseas, but she's obviously from Sydney, and she just hasn't been given the platform, so we're really excited to have Noreen also share her knowledge. She's actually spoken in Dubai, sponsored by the Australian government. Is that correct, Noreen? I can't remember because we had a conversation at the time, but I
Yeah,
hope I got the
New
facts
South
right.
Wales government invited me to go with them for the medical conference, medical trade show over there. I'm part of that team.
Yeah, so we've got our own homegrown electrolyte pioneer
Industry icon,
slash,
absolutely.
yeah, legend.
Legends. Well, thank you so much, Noreen, for all the work that you've done in the industry. I mean, ABIC has been so blessed. We have so many experts at our resource and in every sector, really, from medical aesthetics to beauty to dermal and now electrology as well. We're just dealing with the best of the best, and they tend to give so much of their time, which is so wonderful. So thank you so much for that. So I was hoping to have a little bit of time for questions. It looks like I've been talking a lot, but let's go through some advocacy. So in 2025, we have done so much advocacy through the COSBOA, which is the Council of Small Business. And we get involved in absolutely everything to do with small business. So we're starting from policies and procedures, HR, IR changes, any changes when it comes to sick leave, annual leaves, portable long service leaves, wages. We get involved in the economics of it all, giving feedback about productivity. We were involved in the productivity review. So every time that there is something to do with small business, it gets flagged through the Council of Small Business with ABIC, and ABIC get really, really involved. And we made so many connections with other associations that are sort of related to us as well, like the Massage Association, retail, hospitality. We're making these connections to help to improve profitability, long-term stability and resilience. And I know that we are unique in this because I know that other bodies, which we've got some incredible bodies in our industry, standards bodies, they really look at standards in the industry, but they don't do much with small business advocacy. I think we're the only body in our industry, beauty, dermal, medical, aesthetic, that actually does work with advocacy. And that means, we work with the ombudsmans, the retail, retail sector. We work with the ACCC very closely many times when it comes to do with legislations that are being passed as well. But still, in 2025, only 4 in 10 Australian businesses are around 4 in 10 Australian small businesses are not operating profitability wise. They just are not turning a profit. So we've got a lot of work to do. It seems as though that every year small businesses are hit harder and harder with either additional taxes or with additional legislation or additional burdens and red tape. And we're looking at we're giving so much feedback with regards to cutting red tape, but making the industry safe as well. So that's been something that we've been doing for a long time and continue to do. Here's a little snapshot of us with the ACCC. The most recent thing we did with the ACCC is you will know that the fee, the FPOS sort of devices that are around these days that don't charge the business the fee, but charge it to the client. We found there was a big fault in that because businesses were liable because businesses were to disclose the amount before the charge was processed. Now, you can get, as a small business, huge fines if you don't disclose that. And what was happening is the banks were setting those fees without the business owner or the client knowing, so you'd only find out the fee when you tapped. And so we've got into a big argument with the ACCC. They really did kind of cop it from us and also Wes from the hospitality industry, because we felt it was very unfair to penalise or fine small businesses for not disclosing surcharges when in actual fact they didn't know what the surcharge was until the bank charged it. And we went to extremes to try to prove that as well. Even video videoing the tap at the airport, the taps, and showing that, look, there's no signage there, you know, the fees were shown afterwards. So we won that, and they have now changed, or are in the process of still refining that legislation for small businesses as well. So that was a nice big win for us. And then we are doing things like on a legislative basis, for example, skin penetration review. Now, I can go on for, you know, an hour about what we're doing, but I'm going to give you an overview. Skin penetration is being reviewed. They're wondering whether or not microdermabrasion is considered skin penetration. So we're on that committee to talk about whether or not that should be classified as skin penetration. We're on committees with the TGA to review light-based modalities. So at the moment, laser, IPL, RF are getting reviewed by the TGA. We are on that committee to give feedback as to whether or not cosmetic devices need to be classified in the same way as non-cosmetic medical devices. So what they're proposing is that all devices that are analogous to cosmetic devices that are analogous to medical devices, in other words, they are similar or operate in a similar way, should be regulated under the TGA, should have an ARTG number, or they should be looked at as medical devices. They're also proposing that our format for the TGA for these devices be similar to the EU standards, which is opening up a big kettle of worms and will probably lead to extreme review of what the TGA requirements are for devices. We're in the middle of doing that at the moment. We're in the middle of giving feedback, and we have requested that RF and ultrasound be reviewed at the same time as laser and IPL as well, and that's getting taken into consideration as well. And I thank everybody that's participated in sending their submissions. Kane and his group from Global Beauty Group submitted an incredible paper that we presented as well, and that we sort of fought for in terms of what we would like to see changed and not changed with regards to this review. But they are adamant that there are going to be some changes made. What that looks like, we'll find out over the course of the coming year. But this is not all. We've got things like, you know, the APRA review that happened this year. So the new guidelines for high risk. We did a big seminar, like webinar on that as well, and put out information about the changes. We advocated for changes, we support changes, and we support people in creating a safer, more compliant communication sort of system. But we are finding that the problem is that clinics and salons are still not adhering to the standards when it comes to communication and marketing, where most of the websites falling out of compliance with APRA at the moment. We are talking to them, and in 2026 there will be a new tranche of probably reviews and fines and more changes to come as well next year. Those changes are trickling down to dermal and beauty as well. Beauty is getting a bit of a I suppose, lens put on them as with regards to their scope of practice. I'm not sure if you've seen some articles recently, but usually when the articles start coming out, that's when I get calls from regulators to look at that. So there's hygiene standards that have been now increased for beauty in a couple of states, including Queensland. So they have had a review of their hygiene standards as well, specifically for beauty and their skin penetration. And obviously we're still involved in the Queensland committee. We've got Megan here from the Queensland Nurses Committee as well, and Kwanu, who has jumped into the meeting as well. We're going to do a little bit more work next year on that and on reform with regards to that as well. Got a couple of minutes left. Just wanted to update you on the progress with ANSCO. ABS have said that they are in agreement with our proposal for a separation of beauty services and beauty therapy. For those of you that don't know about the update, we proposed there was one category for beauty, and we proposed 5 categories for our industry because cosmetic doctor was already there. We proposed beauty services as a category, beauty therapy as a category, which also had spa therapy and skin therapy in there, dermal therapy as a diploma at a skill level 2, and then dermal clinician as a degree at a skill level 1 in cosmetic nursing. Dermal clinicians didn't get a code yet, but they've been accepted, so they're there under health services. Cosmetic nursing hasn't got a code yet, but they've been accepted under nursing. So we're waiting for and advocating for those to get their own occupation code. Dermal therapy got their occupation code, so they're covered. Beauty therapy has an occupation code, but it shares it with beauty services. We want to separate the two so that the diploma stays strong and is protected, and that's a protected title. And they are agreeing to that. They've said that they see that as a good, strong possibility, and they're supporting that. They haven't done it yet, but we're hoping to get 2 individual codes for beauty services and beauty therapy, and they're asking us to retire 1 qualification, which they did ask the diploma, but we have pitched the Cert 4 instead, and they are not opposed to that either, which is great. And it's really good progress. We've got a great reputation with them and a great relationship with them. We communicate all the time, and we make sure that we put our case in. The case for change, we do have an opportunity in 2026 to review things slightly, and then if that doesn't happen, then we have to wait 2 years to get our case forward. Safe Skin certification, if you don't know about it, please. We have had all Endota spas go through this process, so they are going to be launching as Safe Skin certified early next year, and we are going to be campaigning in a big way for this particular certification, which lifts the standards but also helps clinics to become compliant in this new kind of environment that we're in. If you don't know much about it, please hop on our website, have a look. We've got Safe Skin clinic salons and spas, and we've also got professional is coming soon, and we've also got Safe Skin suppliers, so check it out, our website there. I wanted to have some questions, but if you have any questions, please send them through, and I'll be so happy to answer them. I just wanted to thank you so much for your time, because I know how busy you are at the end of the year. And thank you for your support. It's been so wonderful just getting to know all of you on, and seeing how many people have actually showed up to the meeting is really wonderful as well. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and happy holidays and a wonderful New Year as well. And Reka, did you want to just also say a quick goodbye?
No, just thanks everyone. Steph, I think you've done an amazing job just outlining in the hour that we have just some of the important work that we've done, and that we'll review the questions. And like always, just reach out to us anytime, touch base. We're here to help. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great night.